Hello viewers and welcome back to another edition of NFL Web TV. I'm your host Samuel Zito. I'm joined by a big full forward from Laidlaw, Peter Shepherd. Thank you for joining us, Peter.
No problem.
It's obviously been personally and for a team, it's been a pretty good start to the year. Obviously 5-0 and you're sitting atop the goal kicking table. So far so good.
Yeah, no, it's been a good start. We've had a pretty big pre-season, so that's got us off to a good start.
And you've been able to kick some big bag of goals. It's 31 so far. The weekend was pretty tough conditions. You still managed to kick 3, but other than that, kicking about 70 games, some pretty good form.
Yeah, I haven't really been playing too well at the moment. We've played a couple of not quite good sides and just been pretty lucky, I guess. So.
Good to get on the end of, I guess, some good play from the teammates who were in some pretty good form, and on the weekend some pretty tough conditions to play footy. What do you make of it? As a tall forward, you probably prefer the dry conditions, but some pretty tough weather on Saturday.
Yeah, I woke up in the morning. Thursday, started off with Thursday night, and it was just pouring down, and it didn't stop. And we had to train for half an hour, and that wasn't really good at all. So it wasn't looking good for me on Saturday.
A good effort to still kick the 3, and of course this week it's a big game against Lower Plenty. Both sides sitting 5-0 with a pretty healthy percentage. I think they're just above you as we speak, but obviously one of it almost a season-defining game and a really good indication of where you're at when you obviously the two best sides of the competition come to play.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be a really good game for us on the weekend, and it's going to be pretty much a benchmark that sets us up for the whole year, I think.
And is there any extra expectation, of course, when you go out to training and whatnot, and during the week, has there been a big build-up towards the game, or will you see more when you get the training tonight?
Well, we've kind of trained for these games. It's kind of been a build-up, like you said, and it's just that after we finish the game, it's the next week, it's always the next week. We haven't really harped on that week's game very much. So.
Obviously, it's the old adage of 1 week at a time. Is it hard at the same time when you are playing? I know on the weekend you played Hurstbridge, you'd come off a disappointing loss to Lower Plenty. Is it hard to not lose track of where you are currently and to not look forward to, for example, this week's game against Lower Plenty?
Well, it is very hard. We're very excited to actually play some really top quality football. Like a football team, so hopefully we can come up with a win this week.
And you're obviously expecting a tough opponent. Down the other end, they've also got some pretty good tools as well, so it should be almost a shootout. I know down at Lower Plenty they've got the Varden brothers and of course Benny Gill. It must be tough to actually think about for your own teammates manning up those kind of names.
Well, I'm pretty confident in our backline. We've got a pretty tall backline, a pretty tall team all round. We rested up to Ruckman last week, and we had another big centre forward stand up and play well in the ruck, so we're pretty well balanced throughout the whole side, I think.
Well, it's actually going to lead into the next question of Dean Sinclair. We did see a few players omitted or rested from last week's game. With that in mind, how they pulled up, are they going to be all right to come back this weekend?
Yeah, it was just with the heavy conditions, it wasn't really worth playing, and then we have like I said before, we have a pretty well-rounded tall team, so we can relax them for 1 week.
Yeah, it's obviously last year as well, you in the top flight in Division 1, disappointing to come back to Division 2. Has that been used as a motivating factor for your good form so far this year?
Yeah, it hasn't really been spoken about much, but it is in the back of our minds that we did go down, and it hurts a little bit still, so we're pretty keen to get back up straight away.
And personally, you had a good year last year as well. I think you were 5th in the goal kicking table, so you've proven you can match it against the best. Is it does it spur you on to want to play at the highest level of football?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not really a big fan of the lower divisions, and I definitely want to play at the top line of football where I can.
And for those people who don't know much of your past, can you tell us a bit about where you played your earlier football and how you actually got to the Laidlaw Football Club?
I've played all over Australia. The last 10 years I've been playing football everywhere. Like from Darwin, I started off in Darwin when I was young, probably 15 or 16, and then I moved down south just to Woodville, West Orange, had a stint there, and then just kept going up and down the whole Australia. So, and then Lance Whitnell, he came up to Darwin and played for my side, Palms Magpies there, and we kind of got that connection with Laidlaw, so it was good.
And how was it moving from Darwin and around Australia? I guess it's pretty tough when you're not so settled outside football. Was it tough to do a lot of travelling and keep your mind on the game some Saturday?
Yeah, well, it wasn't really. I was young at the start, and I really enjoyed playing my footy. And as the years kept going, I was getting a bit sore, and it was taking its toll on my body a little bit too much. So it's good to find a base club at Layla. It's really good.
Well, you have been there for quite some time now, and you mentioned Lance brought you down. He's no longer at the club. You must be feeling settled down there. I think you've been there for 4 or 5 years now. It must be a good environment for yourself.
It's a great environment for me, especially. I've fit in well with the boys, so they've really welcomed me from the start, and I haven't really looked back, really.
And is there anyone down there who you're particularly close with, or you share quite a bond with at all?
Well, I have a few mates from down there, but it's just the older crew. When I first started playing football, I considered myself one of the younger crew, and as the years kept coming on, I found out that I am actually part of the older group, which is quite sad, really.
I guess time does go pretty quickly. And
yeah.
Have you always been a forward? I mean, you look back at your history, and even in the SANFL and up at Palmerston, you've always been able to kick goals. How did you first become? Have you always been a forward, and how did you go about kicking such big bags of goals throughout your career?
I think the start of my career was at Palmerston, and I played halfback flank, and the coach just, because I was spending so much time in the forward line, just running in all the time, he just decided to put me there, and I've never looked back, really. So.
And is it the position you feel most comfortable in? Is it your favourite position on the ground?
Yeah, I love being around the goals. It's fun. I just love kicking goals.
And you mentioned you were at Woodville in the SANFL. Did you play with any high profile players there, and how did you find your time over in Adelaide?
I played after that. I was only 16, I think, when I played at Woodville West Times, and then a couple of years later I played for West Adelaide with Sean Wren. He was the coach then, and I played with a few big name players, but yeah, it was a great experience for me as playing at the top.
And Sean Wren, obviously one of the greats of the AFL, you must have learnt a lot playing under his tutelage.
Yeah, he was a very strict coach, and he just knew what he was talking about and knew footy pretty well, so it was great to learn from him.
And you are obviously at Layla, as we said, for the last couple of years. Are you comfortable in staying there in the long term? Is it somewhere you see yourself being? Or?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable there at the moment, so we've just got to get up to DB1, I think, and have another crack.
And you're confident, you're sitting second at the moment, equal first on the ladder. How confident are you in actually being able to take that next step and go straight back into Division 1 next year?
Well, I think the next 2 weeks will be a big look at how we're sitting in the season itself, but I think I'm pretty confident we can go and take it.
Well, your side is in quite a good position at the moment. You're quite well positioned, and we wish you all the best, and we thank you for joining us today on the panel. We appreciate your time, and one of the great goal kickers of the NFL, kicking bags every week, so get on down to Laylaw Recreation Reserve this week. It's the NFL match of the day. It's between Laylaw and Law Plenty. Peter Shepherd will be at one goal square. Down the other end you'll have Ben Gill, Darcy Barton, Billy Barton, so I'm sure it'll be a goal fest, so all Laylaw and Law Plenty for supporters, get on down. Otherwise, listen to 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you again next Wednesday.